Namastê. My name is Sónia and I am a Portuguese psychic medium and tarot card reader, as well as a clinical psychologist. If it's the first time you're here in the channel, welcome to my channel. And if you could please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, that would really help me a lot, and it would make more people have access to these videos so they could also learn the things that I'm trying to teach on the videos. For those of you who are coming again, thank you so much for your support and so much for the likes on the videos and for the subscriptions on the channel. Today, I'm going to talk about something that people usually ask me a lot in the Portuguese channel that I have, which is, how do you know that you're a light worker? What are the signs to prove that you are a light worker? And so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to tell you how you can see if you are or not a light worker. The first sign, and pretty much kind of obvious, is you're watching this video. So unless you are a light worker or a starseed, which I will explain in another video, you have no reason to be watching this video. So the fact that you're actually searching for something about light workers, or the fact that you saw this video and you read in the title light worker and you decided to click on it, that's already kind of a very good way to show that you might be a light worker. The second point usually is you feel that you're different from everyone else. You feel like you don't belong, like you can't really fit in a group. What I mean by this is that sometimes you notice that in school you didn't have a lot of friends. Maybe you had like one close friend or two, but you didn't have a lot of them because you just couldn't identify with them. You couldn't identify with the sort of games that other people played, with what the people usually talked about, the other kids in school, and you couldn't really resonate with that. So you always felt like you didn't fit in with the groups in school. And sometimes you feel like you don't even fit in with your own family. It's like they're talking some language completely different from your language, and their interests are not the same interests that you have. And so you have this feeling of, I need to belong, but I just know I'm different. And it's not thinking that you're different, it's deep inside of you that you are different from most other people. And this can also mean, when you're not a child anymore, when you're not a teenager anymore, maybe you don't have the same interests as other people your own age. So you don't have that group of friends that you usually see other people having, and you see in movies and series, and you have the group of friends that all go out for a drink at night and things like that. You don't have that. And even when you go out with someone, when you go out with a group, you sort of feel like they're all talking amongst themselves and you're trying to get in the conversation, but somehow it still doesn't feel quite right. So if you have that feeling of, I think I'm different, I know I'm different than the rest of the people, then that is also a very clear indication that you could be a light worker. Another indication is that most light workers despise anything that has to do with controlled systems or controlled authorities. What that means is that you probably don't agree with what your government is doing. You probably don't agree with the way your country is being, run. You probably don't agree with the way the teachers were setting rules when you were in school. You probably don't even agree with your bosses. So most light workers have this problem with authority. And that happens because, light workers, they're more evolved. What I mean by that is they're not from this dimension. They're not from this plane. So they have been developed and they belong to a higher plane. And usually they are the ones who, set rules, or the rules are very different from what you have here. So when all of a sudden you have someone trying to impose something on you and you're a light worker, you're not going to like that. If someone is going to try to tell you what to do and order you what to do, you're not going to resonate with that. You're not going to like that. And a lot of light workers actually kind of get in trouble because they have a problem with authority. They don't like to have people bossing them around and telling them what to do. Another indication that you might be a light worker is we sort of have words that only who is a light worker understands or is used to. And what I mean by that is that we talk about light workers, we talk about star seeds, we talk about earth angels, we talk about twin flames, we talk about reincarnation, we talk about the event, we talk about, aliens if we have to, like Pleiadians and Arcturians. So even what we talk about usually is only understood by other people that have the same interests that we have. If you choose someone who has nothing to do with this, who has never looked into any of this, and you try to talk to them about starseeds or Arcturians or Pleiadians, they're going to look at you like you're crazy, like you're insane. So that is another indication, the fact that we can talk about all of these things and we pretty much know what they mean. And even if we don't know what they mean, when someone actually explains them to us, we think it's normal and we actually agree with it. We don't look at it as something completely strange. It's something that for us is pretty much average. So that's also another clear indication. Another indication that you are a light worker is whether you like people or not. And I'm saying this because a lot of light workers have a problem with the world around them. And, usually light workers can't live in this aggressive, lower vibrational place, which, people can hurt animals, abandon animals, slaughter animals, where you have parents killing their own children. I had to make a cut because I said a word that you can't say on YouTube. But continuing, when you have parents that are actually doing harm to their own children, horrible things that I can't say because the algorithm on YouTube won't let me say it without doing something to my own video, but you get the point. When you see people hurting other people, when you see all of the violence and all the disrespect that goes around, that makes a lot of light workers not really appreciate the human race as a whole. But nevertheless, the light workers, even if they don't really like human race, even if they don't really like people, even if they're against the way people treat their own children and they treat animals and they treat nature and Mother Earth where we live in, you are still going to want to help them. You are still going to feel deep inside of you that the right thing to do is to help others. And you're going to have that need inside of you to help, to assist, to do something, even if you don't like the way people are acting and you don't agree with what people are doing. Another sign, and this one is very big and very constant with all the people I talk to, is this feeling of wanting to go back home. You want to go home again. In home, we're not talking about your house. We're not talking about your apartment. We're not talking about your building. We're talking about what you feel like home is. And home for you is the other dimension. It's where you came from. It's where you came from to be here at this moment right now to help with what is going on, with what started now in 2020, which is the event that just is starting to take place right now. So you have this feeling of, I don't belong here. I just want to go back to my home. I want to go to where I feel like I'm safe, where I'm loved, where I'm protected, where the vibration is not at this level, it's at this level, where you have more respect, you don't have violence, you don't have hatred, you don't have any of those things. Because another sign that you are a light worker, or that you may be a light worker, is the fact that things like hatred, violence, and negativity can actually make you feel physically ill. You can't stand it. So if you see someone hating on someone else, or if you read something that is inciting people to be violent, to be negative, to be horrible, you are going to physically feel ill. You're not going to feel comfortable with it because it goes completely against everything you believe in, because your nature is not that, related to these words. Your nature is not one of fear or hate or negativity. So whenever you find yourself in the middle of those feelings, when you find yourself with people around you, talking about stuff that has to do with fear and hatred and all of that, you're going to feel the need to back away, not socialize with those people, and you're going to feel something deep inside of you. It's a physical reaction, like your whole body is against it. Another very important characteristic that light workers have is you don't know what it is, or maybe some of you already do, but you have this feeling inside of you that you have a deep purpose on this planet, that you're here for a reason, that there's something that you have to do here, something that is expected of you. And you may not know yet what it is, but you already know that you have something. You know you have a purpose. You know your life has a meaning, a deeper meaning. And some of you are going to find out pretty soon what it is. Others maybe not so soon. A lot of you are going to find out in 2020. Most of you will, at least. But whether you know it or not, you feel deep inside of you that there is meaning and a deep purpose to your life and your existence here on this planet at the moment. Another characteristic, and this one is pretty obvious, is you have been going through an awakening. And on the Portuguese channel, I already have a lot of videos about the awakening. On this channel, obviously not. This is only my third video on the channel. But the spiritual awakening, and if you want to, please say something and I can do a video about the awakening on this English channel as well. But the spiritual awakening is when you start to realize that the world isn't exactly what you were taught when you were little. It's also a period in your life where a lot of difficult things are going to start happening. For instance, you might lose your job, you might become ill, your relationship may crumble or fall, or really get a divorce or something like that. So a lot of areas in your life, it's like they're all coming down, like everything is going to start working really, really badly for you, and you don't know why. And you're going to all of a sudden lose people that you thought were your friends, and it turns out they're not really your friends, and they're just going to stop talking to you for no reason. And there's a lot of other things going on with the awakening. But if you're going through a spiritual awakening, you're probably a light worker as well. Another thing is that some of you may feel the need to heal others. You may feel the need to heal either with your hands, and what I mean by that is you're going to feel in the palm of your hands when you're close to someone that needs help, they're going to warm up and your hands are going to become warmer, and you're like, I need to touch this person, or I need to put my hands closer to this person. Or you're going to feel a different kind of need to heal. It can be an emotional healing, a spiritual healing. So what happens is a lot of people are just going to come to you, people you've never met, people you've never seen in your life, and they're going to start talking about their problems and their feelings, and they're going to start sharing with you things that are very intimate and that usually people don't share with strangers. Or even if they're not strangers, all of a sudden they're going to start talking to you, and they're going to start telling you everything, what problems they're facing in their lives, what's wrong with their marriage, what's wrong with their parents, what's wrong with their jobs. And you are just going to be there and listen to that person. And most of the times, that's the only thing that the other person is going to need. For you to be there, for you to listen, and for you to say a kind word, or to show that person you are being loved. I am listening to you. You're not in pain alone. I can hear your pain. And that gives a sense of peace and tranquility to most people. So if you have a lot of people coming to you talking about their whole lives, that's because you're probably a light worker and you have this need to heal, whether physical, emotionally, or spiritually, but you're going to have to feel the need to heal someone. And the last characteristic that I want to talk about is that you're an old soul. And what this means is usually people are going to comment that you look older than what you really are, or that you are wiser than what you're supposed to be at your age. It's like, for instance, you're 20 years old, but you have the knowledge of a 40 or a 50-year-old. Or you're 40 years old, but you have the knowledge of a 60 or an 80-year-old. So people are going to look into your eyes and they're going to see something different. Even if you're like 20 or 30 or 40, your eyes are going to show your real age. And your real age is not 20 or 30 or 40, because through the eyes you have access to the soul. And light workers are old souls. They're not young souls that just arrived and are beginning to learn. They're old souls. And people are going to realize that by the way you talk, by the way you look, and by the way your eyes transmit your age and what you're feeling and the knowledge you have inside of you. It's going to be a deep knowledge. It's like you have questions and you have answers for those questions that most people don't. And you have the ability to, make people more at ease, more safe, more secure. So these are the characteristics that I wanted to talk to you about. If you think it makes sense, I can do another video talking about starseeds, or I can do about earth angels, or I can do about the spiritual awakening. If you want to have a private reading with me with tarot cards, you just have to either go to my page on YouTube, which is The Power of the Cosmos by Sónia Veenstra, or you can write an email to thepowerofthecosmos@gmail.com. Well, that was all I had for now. I wish all of you a wonderful week, a wonderful weekend with love, peace, and light. Namaste, and thank you so much for listening to me.